while this is a plan that first presented by the Tri-Caucus, as you can see, this represents the whole diversity of the Democratic Caucus of the 112th Congress. And one of the things that we are attempting to do is to make sure that at least a group of members of Congress express to the nation that we are non-participants in what we believe to be a calamity. This is a terrible day for the House of Representatives. What this is about, we can't decide for sure, but it certainly is not about Eric Holder or holding back documents. And so we did not want to participate in something that we believe to have some kind of smell to it. And we are declaring by walking out that we're not participating in this skunktivity. So we hope that Americans will understand that we've done everything conceivably possible through the committee process to respond to what has been asked. And so the Tri-Caucus, believing that we needed to do something, did make a presentation to the Democratic Caucus, and we received the support to do this from the total caucus. And as you can see, our caucus chair is here, as well as our leader and our whip, as well as our assistant leader, all of the caucus chairs. And so we would bring to the microphone now Judy Chu, who is the chair of the Asian American Pacific Caucus.
Last night, the Congressional Asian Pacific American Caucus voted to join the Congressional Black Caucus and the Tri-Caucus, as well as the Democratic colleagues, in boycotting this ridiculous partisan stunt. We are standing here because we refuse to participate in a vote that's unprecedented, unjustified, and unfounded. In office, Attorney General Holder has tirelessly pursued justice for all communities. He's prevented mortgage fraud, fought gang violence, and worked to ensure every American has the right to vote. Congress should be creating jobs, not wasting taxpayer money, putting on a political sideshow during an election year.
As we've been saying, this is about non-participation in contrivance and connivance. And now we will have Charlie Gonzalez, the chair of the Hispanic Congressional Caucus.
Manuel, thank you very much. Let's make it really abundantly clear what we're doing here. We stand united. We understand that Congress has a right to conduct oversight. This is not about the right of Congress to conduct oversight. It's about the responsibility and duty of Congress to do it in a way that is fair and just. It is the estimation of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus that no answer forthcoming from Attorney General would have satisfied this particular chairman of this committee at this point in time. The only answers that would have satisfied Chairman Issa would have been if he could have supplied them himself. That's not happening. That's not fair. It's not just. It's not the way we should conduct business with the awesome responsibilities that we have as members of Congress.
Go, Charlie.
Go, Charlie.
And now Raul Grijalva from the Progressive Caucus.
Thank you very much, Chairman. A lot was said today on the floor by Republican colleagues about the tragic death of Border Patrol Agent Terry, and how somehow what they were doing today was related to that tragedy. And what they were doing today was going to bring comfort to the family and closure to the questions that remain. What was being done today has nothing to do with that tragedy. What was being done today was primarily a political hunt to marginalize an attorney general that has done nothing but uphold the law in this country. I'm here to join with my colleagues to merely make a statement, not participating in this sham, and by not participating in this sham, to reassert that there are some members of the House of Representatives that still take very solemnly our responsibility and the duty that we have. So thank you for Mr. Cleaver. Thank you.
And now Jim Clyburn, the assistant leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Let me thank all of the caucus chairs from the Tri-Caucus who are here. I want to thank our leader, Pelosi, our Whip Hoyer, for the tremendous leadership they have given to this issue. As has been said, this is not about oversight. This is about overkill. This committee, maintaining the same procedures they have held on to for a long, long time, no matter who chairs it, under Republican rule. Dan Burton spent all of his time chasing Ron Brown over stuff they just made up. Now, Chairman Issa is chasing Eric Holder over stuff he's just making up. We're here to say today that we believe that there's something evil about using the procedures of the House, especially something as severe as holding someone in contempt of Congress to further political aims. Is not why the American people sent us here. They sent us here to improve the quality of their lives, and we have been trying to do that. We've been trying to pass a Jobs Act that the Speaker will not allow to come to the floor, and we have tried, hopefully we'll do a highway bill. We should be about the people's business and stop wasting time over stunts that will have nothing to do with the future growth and development of this great country of ours. So I want to thank the leadership for bringing us all here today, and I hope that this will say to the American people that we hear you and we're here to respond to you. And for that, I want to now yield to our whip, Stanley Hoyer, for any comments he would like to make.
I thank the members of the Tri-Caucus and would reiterate what they've said. This is not about race. It is not about caucus. It is, however, about confrontation over cooperation, about confrontation over consensus. And it is the pattern that this Republican leadership has followed since they first were sworn into power last year in the 112th Congress. The action on the floor today is unprecedented in the history of America. Never before in history has the Congress held a cabinet officer in contempt. Not once. Not by Republican Congresses or Democratic Congresses. Not in Republican administrations or Democratic administrations. This is quite simply about due process. This is about fairness. This is about not politicizing an extraordinary, important responsibility the Congress of the United States has. Oversight, investigation, ensuring that the taxpayers' money is spent correctly. And yes, we all lament the loss of the life of this brave Border Patrol agent at the hand of Mexican criminals or criminals of some other place. This is about fairness. And the reason we have walked down those stairs and into this courtyard is to call the attention of the American people who are angry about confrontation, angry about gridlock, angry about the fact that we are not focused on their priorities: jobs, investment in infrastructure, the environment, education, innovation, building our economy, who are angry at the politicization of the deliberations of the People's House. That's why we are here in this courtyard, to say to our Republican colleagues, shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on you.
Shame.
And I will now yield to the leader of our party, Nancy Pelosi. Got an earring. Don't step on it.
Don't step on it. Oh, my earring. Oh, yeah. Good earring. Thank you very much. I want to join my colleague, Mr. Hoyer, the distinguished whip, in commending the leadership of the Tri-Caucus, Congresswoman Chu, Congressman Charlie Gonzalez, and Congressman Emmanuel Cleaver, and to join our colleague in the leadership, Mr. Clyburn, for the leadership they are providing today to help us all give voice to our disappointment as to what is happening on the House of the floor. And what is happening on the floor of the House is a misuse of power. It is an abuse of power, and it is the wrong thing to do. My colleague, Mr. Clyburn, and the distinguished whip talked about jobs. We in the Democratic Caucus believe in the American dream, that anyone who wants to work hard, play by the rules, take responsibility, should have a chance to succeed, and we build ladders of success for that. And that means jobs, 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 education, and opportunity. For some reason, our Republican colleagues think it is more important to engage in this abuse of power than to bring legislation to the floor that would be job creating. And that is most unfortunate, because that is what the American people sent us here to do and expect us to do. It is particularly disappointing because of the nature of the way they're bringing it to the floor. As Mr. Hoyer mentioned, the first time in the history of our country that a cabinet officer has been held in contempt of Congress. And why? I contend that the Attorney General and the Justice Department is a place where the American people look for us to uphold the Constitution by enabling everybody to have a right to vote, have that vote be counted, so that we have a true democracy. That is the primary place, the ultimate place where we can fight voter suppression. For this and other reasons that are undemocratic with a small d, the Republicans have decided to go after this Attorney General. And after him, who's next? Because these are trumped up. What they're bringing to the floor is false, beneath the dignity of debate on the floor of the House, and a cause for great concern. So I thank my colleagues when they said what they wanted to do and how they would like to express our objection to what was happening there. We all thank them for their leadership. It's most unfortunate. As even Attorney General under President Ronald Reagan, William Smith, French Smith said, that we are supposed to, as the Constitution guides us, find cooperation, and that one branch is not supposed to have excessive force over the other. It's in the Constitution. It was honored by Ronald Reagan's Attorney General. It should be honored by the Republicans in the Congress. Less than 2 weeks, they go from committee to the floor.
7 days.
We respected President Bush and gave him over 200 days to respond to us when he had not given us one piece of paper, and he never did. But we still tried to find a way under Chairman Conyers. I want to commend Elijah Cummings, our ranking member on the Oversight Committee. He is on the floor in the debate. He recognizes and respects Congress's role in oversight, as has been mentioned by others. He has conducted the proceedings on our side in opposition to the Republicans with great dignity and great respect, worthy of the institution in which we serve and the Constitution that we take a pledge to protect and defend. I would like, with your permission, my colleagues, to yield to Mr. Lewis.
Absolutely.
Is that okay?
Yeah,
To Mr.
absolutely.
Lewis.
Yeah, sure.
All right, John.
All right, John. Thank you, John Lewis, for your being such an inspiration
Thank
to
you.
all of
Thank
us.
you.
Thank you. We'll change places. Sheila, can I? Now I better come back.
Hot mics.
Thank you. Thank all of my colleagues, all of the chairs. Thank you, Madam Speaker. This is a very sad hour
for the House, and for our nation. But it was Gandhi, the Saint of India, who said on one occasion, non-cooperation with evil, with what is wrong, is as much a moral obligation as cooperation with good. Thank you, each one of you, for engaging in this magnificent nonviolent protest for what is right and for what is just against what is wrong. I think it's fitting that we have a moment of silence for the House, for our nation, and for the Border Patrol agent, Terry. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This effort was led by the Congressional Black Caucus, and we're very appreciative for the entire Tri-Caucus. The Black Caucus was organized to do just this kind of thing, to speak out and to speak up. Charlie Rangel, one of the founders of the Congressional Black Caucus, who had a mission for the Congressional Black Caucus, that we would be the conscience of the caucus. Charlie Rangel.
I'll get out of the way here. Wait. You're fine. Go ahead. Take your shoe off.
She should come around this way.
Yes, when we first came here, 13 members, we thought it'd be best to organize for all of our people. This has to go down in history as one of the proudest days the House of Representatives has had, because we did not allow the tools that the forefathers put together to preserve this democracy to be abused and used to destroy it. Each piece, it may be Eric Holder today, but each piece of destruction by those people who care more about themselves or the destruction of the presidency at the willingness to sink our great nation, we have proven today that we don't have to tolerate it. So to all of the leadership, we should be proud of each other for being allowed today to participate in the saving of this great nation. Thank you.
We have, before you close, some other members of the Congressional Black Caucus. Would you please come? In case there are any questions, we will take a few questions. Barbara, would you come around here too? And other members who may want to join in answering some of the questions that may be asked. Are there any questions?
Mr. Waters, to what extent is the first African American Attorney General, first ever contempt proceeding as a cabinet member, race play a role in this vote?
Mr. Cummins has done a fine job in defining what has taken place in these so-called investigations. He talked about the fact that they have not found any evidence that this Attorney General was hiding anything, that he had lied to anybody. They still do not have any facts to support this illegitimate investigation. And so the legality of this has been well explained, and I believe that if we just deal with the facts, that we can see that this has not been a legitimate investigation.
Maxine,
would you
can
say
let
that
John
that
Lawson,
is true?
Speak before John
Yes,
Lawson.
John, please.
Thank you.
I want to commend the Congressional Black Caucus and the Tri-Caucus for their efforts. As chairman of the entire caucus, I often say that this represents the most diversified parliamentary body ever assembled in the history of mankind. Today we demonstrated for all the world, when you stare in the face of injustice. And as Mr. Rangel said, the misuse of the tools of our democracy that we so cherish, that you have to stand in the way. And we stand proudly with the caucuses that make this the most diversified, most compassionate, and most caring group of individuals that I have had the pleasure to serve with. At a time when we all know we should be focused on jobs and what the Americans truly want, we're dealing with obstruction. In a compression of time, when time is of the essence, we're dealing with obstruction. At a compression of time, we're dealing with people that are being oppressive and people that are being suppressive of not only the vote, but of our economic livelihood. That's why we band together today. That's why I'm proud to stand with these members. Thank you so much.
Again, John.
Certainly we thank you all for being with us today. This is a historic day, not only because for the first time in the history of this country did we actually vote on a contempt for a member of the cabinet of the President of the United States, but it's a historic day because this caucus stood together to say, no, we will not participate in this charade. No, you will not make us vote on something that we know is not only wrong, but is a sham, is a scam, and is an insult to the people of this country. We thank you very much for being here because we are proud today to stand as one body to say to you, wrong is wrong, and we are not going to in any way, at any time, dignify what is wrong. Thank you so much. Thank you.